Hello, everyone. I'm Sophia Haber, and today I'm joined by actor, best known for his roles of Zach Lieberman on Marvel's The Punisher and Blaine on Nick Jr.'s Nella the Princess Knight, Kobi Frumer. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's great being here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, when did your passion for acting begin?
Um, I think I've always had a passion for acting, throughout my life. Uh, it's just been present ever since I was little. I went to sleepaway camp, and I'd always be a part of the camp productions, the plays. And, like every other kid when watching TV, I'd always want to be the one to say, draw the Mickey Mouse face and say, and you're watching Disney Channel. But I think my career really started when I was in Mexico on vacation and I met a manager there. He told my parents that he wanted to meet with me when we got back to New York, and that's how I started. Then my interest in it really doubled a little bit.
Okay, cool. So, what was your first major project that you worked on?
The first major project I worked on was Nell the Princess Knight. I actually got that within a month of signing with my manager. So,
Oh, wow.
kind of good luck.
What was the audition process like for that?
The audition process for Nella, it was pretty short. I sent in an audition tape and I didn't really hear anything back for a good week, which in this industry usually means you didn't get it. But then they called back and said, "Hey, you're doing a callback." I did it, and then they said I got the job, and it was the first real big thing I did, so I was just so excited. It was amazing.
Wow. So what was that like? Because I know it's not an in-person, it's not like on screen. So how did you film that?
Well, that's kind of the difference between voice acting and live action acting on screen. I think that voice acting is a lot more difficult because when you're on screen and you're with other actors, you get to react, which is an essential part of acting. But when you're just doing voice acting, you're in a booth and it's just you and the director. So I think it's a lot more difficult.
Hmm. So do you have any specific memories from working on the show that you can share?
From Nella, I think, oh, a great memory there was I was in the recording booth and we were doing this one line, thank you. And it took about 20 minutes because I just had to say that same line over and over again in every single different way and different connotations. It was exhausting, but it's something that I remember.
Hmm. So how did you prepare to like voice act? Was there certain like was there a teacher that helped you or
With voice acting, I've always just looked at the script and just read it over and over, thinking about, how the character is really thinking and what he's thinking while he's saying it.
yeah, okay. So I know you also worked on The Punisher. So how was doing a voice acting job different than being in person filming?
Well, like I said, it's just the reaction and being with other actors. I'd say that The Punisher I enjoyed a lot more. I think I'm more of a people person, but being on set, there were just so many great actors, all of these amazing crew members to work with, and doing the voiceover was also great, but it was just me and the director,
Hmm.
less of a party.
So how long did that process take, filming Nella?
Nella, I worked on that for almost 2 years, and I went in like once a week. I worked there until my voice changed. Yeah, they tried to work with it for a while, but eventually they had to replace me, which I fully understand. It's just business.
Okay, so now let's talk about working on The Punisher. So how did you get the opportunity for that job?
Ooh, well, the first audition that I got was totally by accident. I was actually supposed to be working on another cartoon called Ollie and Moon, and my agent had forgotten to book me off. So she signed me up for an audition time, and I read the script and immediately I realized it was for a Marvel TV show. So I called my agent up and I said, "Hey, can you, make a new schedule appointment for the cartoon so I could do the audition?" So I went in and I started working on it. and it was 5 pages for the next day. So yeah, it was tough, but I felt confident, and that's always important. I went in, I felt good. Later that day, they called back and they said, "Here, you got a new call back." And I was super excited. I was like, "Okay, I'm going to do the script again." And they said, "Here's 5 new pages to learn."
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. Thankfully, I have a little bit of photographic memory, so that's always helpful.
That's good. That's funny how Marvel is definitely very different than just like a little kid's cartoon, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. A little more gory, too.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
but I went in for the next audition, and there was this one scene in which I needed to cry, and I accidentally messed up a line a few seconds earlier. So I basically used my emotion for messing up that line and used that as a source to cry from. I think that kind of got me the job, though. Uh,
wow.
they called back the next day and said I got it. I screamed for a good 5 minutes out of joy.
Well, that's really exciting. It's such like a big opportunity, right?
Mm. Yeah, it was the role of a lifetime. So glad to have been a part of it.
Mm. So, do you relate to your character that you played?
Well, Zach Lieberman, he was a really angry person because his dad died, and I have a dad who's alive and well, healthy. So it was a little hard to relate in that way, but just a 13-year-old kid, in that way I can relate, just growing up.
Mhm. So, I heard that you were a big Marvel fan even before you started working on the film. So, what was that like?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've always loved superheroes growing up, especially Marvel. My dad used to get me all of these Marvel and DC encyclopedias of superheroes that I would just read before I went to sleep when I was little. And we would always go to New York Comic Con. Like for the past 8 years, we've gone. So getting this role to be on a Marvel TV show it was amazing. It was like a dream come true.
Mm. What's your favorite superhero?
Favorite superhero? Oh, gotta go with Captain America, 100%.
What was it like working on the set?
Working on the Marvel set was awesome because, well, for a few reasons. One, all of the Netflix Marvel shows were in the same studio film lot. So in between scenes, I would get to go into Jessica Jones' office and Daredevil's boxing arena. And I also actually shared a changing studio with Mike Coulter. So that was cool. But the best part about it was the people, the amazing people I got to meet. I got to meet Mike Coulter, Charlie Cox, Lucy Liu, who was actually directing an episode, and Rosario Dawson, and so many more people.
Who were some of the most memorable people that you met?
Well, I already said a few of them. I think Lucy Liu, Mike Coulter, Rosario Dawson, um, John Bernthal, Ben Barnes, Jamie Ray Newman, Amber Heard. Uh, they've just played. They were just amazing actors that I got to meet, and it was great meeting them. Learned so much from them.
Do you have any specific memories with any of them that you could share?
Yeah. This one scene I was filming with John Bernthal plays the Punisher. We were doing this football scene outside, and we were just throwing back and forth the football. And on camera, it looked fine. It was like a great day outside, but it was actually less than 30 degrees. And
Mhm.
let's just say my hands were numb. So eventually, I just started not catching the ball. So it took a lot longer than it looked like.
How many times do you think you retook the shot?
We filmed for a good 2 hours at least.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's funny. Anyone else that you have specific memories with?
Yeah. Oh, I do remember. I always loved eating lunch with Ben. He was actually on Narnia. He played Prince Caspian, and I remember one time I was talking to him about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I still talk to them." And he pulls up on FaceTime with a few of the actors from them, and I just get to talk to them as well.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I was actually watching Narnia yesterday, and then like doing a little bit of research about the Punisher, and I didn't even realize that he was also in that. So it's
Yeah.
kind of funny. What were the most challenging parts of playing Zach?
I think, like I mentioned earlier, about how he lost his dad. I think that just being that character and feeling those emotions about not having a father who was murdered, it's just so much, and it was just really saddening to think about. I think that was definitely the most challenging part.
Mm. Do you remember a specific scene that was like especially difficult?
Definitely. Spoilers ahead. The one scene where the Punisher takes a knife to my neck, that was definitely a scene to remember. Uh, I had to cry. I had to just feel all of these emotions because I told him, "Do it. Just kill me." And to feel like that, to feel that pain was just it was intense, and it was really a lot.
Mm. So I know you also did a lot of stunts in the film, or in the series. So did you do your own stunts?
Unfortunately, no, but some of the small stuff, yes. Another spoiler here. The scene where I slapped my TV sister, Ripley Sobo, I did get to do that one. We practiced it a lot. I accidentally one time hit her nose while we were filming. Yeah, she still holds that over to me to this day.
Mm. So did you have a good relationship with her, like when you were filming?
Oh yeah, Ripley and I are great friends still. We play brother and sister, so we kind of grew really close.
What were some things that you learned working on the show? Like it could be about yourself or about the overall industry.
I learned a lot from being on there about the industry, myself, acting. It was the biggest job that I'd ever done. So I learned a lot about just being on set, a lot of experience. Also from working with John Bernthal, he's a method actor. So watching him act, I learned a lot because John is just this really nice, sweet guy, very personable, very relatable, and he's really kind. But when he's in character, he's this big guy, intimidating, deep voice. I was scared whenever I did a scene with him. Uh, but just watching him method act, it's just I learned a lot from it, and I've tried to work from that and live up to that.
Mm. So how did you balance school with work?
Well, I did still have to do schoolwork and homework because SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, requires 3 hours of tutoring on set. But I did get to miss school days to be on set, so kind of evened itself out.
That's good. So did you attend do you attend like public school or private school?
I go to a private school in Manhattan called Professional Children's School, and it's a great school for a lot of people that have a career already. And what they do is it's basically like a normal school, except if I have a professional obligation that I need to attend to, they'll give me extensions on my work, or they'll say, "Oh, you don't need to come to school today because you're working."
That's good. It's good that they're flexible, so
Yeah,
yeah.
amazing, great school too.
So, you were talking about Ollie and the Moon show before. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Ooh, great show. When I first auditioned for it, it was a little weird because I found out that I was replacing someone. I only joined the show after about 3 episodes in, and it was a little weird, but I did a few auditions and I got the job. Fun fact though, where we recorded, it was called Beach Street, and the guy who actually owns Beach Street, his name is Joe Franco, the drummer from Twisted Sister. So meeting him was also just a great thing. I got to see him every day during the week.
Wow, that's really cool. Do you have any specific memories from that show that you can share?
From that show, yeah, I think the first time I walked in, I didn't know that it was the guy from Twisted Sister that owned it. And I walk in and I see all of these Grammys just on the shelves, and meeting him for the first time, that was great. And the girl that I worked with who played Moon, we became great friends. She was actually just on Frozen 2 and the Frozen Broadway show. So just meeting everybody there was amazing.
Hmm. So do you still, I know you said that you have kept a bunch of relationships already, but is there anyone else that you met doing these jobs that you're still friends with now?
Uh, I think mostly Ripley. She's one of my best friends, but I still talk to a lot of people, and a lot of people that I meet, at Comic Con, just from networking with people. The place where I actually got this necklace, "What's Your Passion Jewelry?" I met them through the actors in The Punisher. They're a great company, and I'm just friends with them. They gave this to me, so yeah.
Nice. And I also saw that you worked on something with Amazon Prime, Bugs a Trilogy. Is that, so can
Yeah,
you talk about
horror. That was interesting to say. It was the first horror thing I've ever done, and it was weird to be on that side from a horror perspective. When you see a horror movie, it's like scary, but when you're behind the camera, when you're acting in it, it's not that bad. It's not scary at all. When they do all of the everything is just overlaid and it's perfected, masterpiece. I think that's what really makes it scary. But when you're just working on it, it's not. It's just fun.
that? So now that you're older, how have you transitioned from a child actor to like a teen actor?
I think I've transitioned by really working on and perfecting my craft. I try and work with all of these great studios and practice acting all the time, but mostly I've absorbed, a lot from all of the amazing actors that I've worked with. Yeah.
Hmm. So are there any projects that you're working on right now?
I am working on a few projects, but I can't really talk about them right now. We'll just have to wait and see.
Okay. Do you have any plans for the future?
Yes, I have officially moved out to Los Angeles. I'm planning to continue acting from here. And I think right now, during these tough times, during COVID, I think being an actor is a really important job. Not as important as a nurse, first responder, but what people need a lot is entertainment, and that's why I think being an actor is such an important job right now. And I want to help people in this way as much as I can.
Hmm. Are there any other projects that you've worked on in the past that you would like to talk about?
Um, oh, I do remember doing a few. I said that I'd gone to Comic Cons a lot since I've been growing up. And New York Comic Con is actually at the Javits Center. But one time I went there and it wasn't for that. I was actually doing a modeling gig, I was doing a runway job. And I don't know, that's just something fun that I always think back on fondly.
Hmm. What was it for? What was the modeling job for?
Oh, it was just a bunch of brands showing off their new clothings to a bunch of people.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Do you also do modeling as well as act?
I do. Modeling, acting. I'd say singing, but I'm not that great at it. So I'll just leave it at those two.
What brands have you modeled for?
Uh, I don't really remember. They just gave me a bunch of brands to try on. I've also done some stuff for Toys R Us, those unboxing videos. Yeah.
Hmm. And I also saw on YouTube you did something, it was Kids React, SCLQ. You did something with them?
Yeah, I've done a bunch of stuff for YouTube, like where they ask kids a bunch of videos, and they ask 5-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 17-year-olds. Those have been a lot of fun. Yeah, I've done. That was really how I just first started acting. I did more small stuff just to get more experience behind the camera.
Hmm. So do you have any advice for students or young people like yourself who are interested in this field?
Yeah. I think the best piece of advice that I was ever given was stay grounded, stay down to earth, because you can always be better. You can always get better, and you should always just be nice.
Do you have any social medias that you want to plug?
Yeah, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, my account is at Kobi Frumer, no space, just like on the video there.
Okay, so make sure to follow Kobe to keep up with him, and I'm looking forward to seeing your future projects. So thank you again for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.